That night, back in Nkpor, the children at 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 sat around a small fire. Onyeka stood in front of them, holding a banana in one hand and a small candle in the other. This is for every child who was silenced, who was taken, who was forgotten. May we never forget again. The children raised their candles. And for the first time, they sang Neloaku's name out loud. Not as a ghost, but as a hero. Great. Let's continue the story and build toward its conclusion. Nkpor village had seen many things, joy, pain, death, and rebirth, but no one could have imagined how far Neloaku's voice would travel. After Chief Igwe's arrest, newspapers from all over Anambra State came to Nkpor. The headlines told it all: Girl's ghost leads to justice, banana seller's spirit uncovers ritual network, village girl becomes voice for the voiceless. Reporters visited 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐸. They took pictures of the smiling children, of the small white shrine, of the mango tree, and of Onyeka, who now carried more than just dreams, she carried responsibility. Do you feel like a hero? One journalist asked her. Onyeka smiled gently. No. I feel like a listener. Neloaku whispered. I only listened. But not everyone was happy. Some rich and powerful people, those who had secrets in their closets, began to murmur. That girl is digging too deep. She is disturbing the land. Let sleeping things lie. One afternoon, as Onyeka sat in front of the haven, a black car pulled up. A well-dressed man stepped out with dark glasses. Good afternoon, he said. Good afternoon, Onyeka replied, her tone polite but cautious. My name is Chief 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭. I'm a businessman. I came to offer you something. She raised her eyebrows. What kind of something? A donation. Big money. To help your center grow. But there's just one small thing. Onyeka leaned back in her chair. Go on. You must stop your investigations. No more stories about dead children. Focus only on helping the living. Onyeka chuckled. You want to buy my silence? Not silence. Peace. She stood up. We already have peace. The kind that comes with truth, not hush money. Chief 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭 frowned. Think carefully, my dear. Some voices are better left unheard. She met his eyes calmly. And some ears are finally listening. Good day, sir. He hissed and got back into the car. As the black vehicle drove away, Ebra came out from the back. You heard everything. Every word, Ebra said. These people are scared now. Onyeka nodded. Then we're doing something right. That weekend, Onyeka and her team visited a small village near the river, Otucha. They had received a letter from a school teacher there who said her students were disappearing one by one, and no one cared. The team arrived and spoke with the villagers. A woman with a shaky voice told them, my son went to school and never returned. The headmaster said he must have run away. But I know my son. He wouldn't run. Another man added, 3 children in 2 months. And nobody is asking questions. Onyeka walked into the school building the next day. It was quiet. Too quiet. She greeted the headmaster politely. He was a tall man with dark skin and a shiny wristwatch. He smiled too much. I heard you've come from Nkpor, he said. To do your child-saving magic. We are just here to listen, Onyeka said calmly. Sometimes the dead speak. Sometimes the living ignore them. The man's smile faded. As they left his office, Chike whispered, that man knows something. I know, Onyeka replied. We stay close. We watch. That evening, they hid near the school after dark. Around midnight, they saw it. A man sneaking into the building through a back door. It was the headmaster. He carried a sack on his shoulder. They followed him at a distance until he reached a small forest behind the school. There, deep inside the bush, they saw it, a hidden shrine, lit with red candles. Inside were dolls made of cloth, tied with thread, and children's names written in chalk on the wall. Ugana, who had joined them again, quietly took pictures. "We have him," he whispered. The next day, the headmaster was arrested. 3 missing children were rescued from a hut not far from the shrine. They had been drugged and locked away, waiting to be sold to a trafficker. The town rejoiced. And another 3 names were added to the list. Their photos were placed beside Neloaku's shrine back in Nkpor. People were no longer whispering. They were shouting. The governor of the state invited Onyeka for a visit. She wore her cleanest wrapper and walked with her head held high into the government house. "You have done more with your small center than many big offices in this state," the governor said. "We only followed the voices that others ignored," she replied. "I want to give you land to build a real center, a big one. With classrooms. A clinic. Dormitories." Onyeka's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yes," he said. "Your work must continue." She left that office with joy in her heart and a dream in her hand. Nelo's haven would grow. Not just in Nkpor, but across the state. One night, Onyeka walked alone to the mango tree and sat beside the shrine. The wind was soft. The moon was bright. She whispered, "Neloaku, we are still listening. We will never stop." For a moment, nothing happened. Then a small gust of wind lifted the corner of her wrapper. She smiled. A presence was near. Not haunting her, but standing with her. Construction had begun. Right at the edge of Nkpor, on a wide patch of land donated by the governor, workers hammered, dug, and carried bricks under the hot sun. The new Nelo's Haven Center was taking shape, bigger, stronger, and brighter than the small hut it once started in. Onyeka stood under a tree nearby, watching with pride. Children who once hid behind their mothers now ran freely across the site. Teachers from nearby towns came to volunteer. Doctors came every week to check the health of the children. Artists painted colorful drawings of smiling children on the new walls. The center was no longer just a shelter. It was becoming a home. A safe place. A promise. "Do you ever stop to breathe?" Ebra teased, walking up to Onyeka with a cold bottle of zobo. Onyeka smiled and took the drink. "Sometimes. But this dream is moving fast. And you're running with it," Ebra added. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 joined them, wiping sweat from his forehead. He had been helping the masons mix cement. "We should finish the first dormitory by next week," he said proudly. "The girls can finally stop sleeping on mats." Onyeka nodded. "Good. They deserve comfort. Peace." As she spoke, little Ada ran up to her, hugging her waist. "Auntie Onyeka, when can I move into the new house?" "Very soon, my darling," Onyeka said, bending to her level. "And you have your own bed and pillow." Ada's eyes sparkled. "Will Neloaku visit us there too?" Onyeka smiled. "She's already watching. From the stars." But just when things felt perfect, trouble returned. It came quietly, like a shadow in the evening. A man named Barrister Okoro arrived at the site, dressed in a fine suit and followed by 2 police officers. "I am here with an order," he said, holding up a paper. "This land belongs to someone else. You are to stop work immediately." Onyeka frowned. This land was donated by the state government. "Well," the man said, adjusting his glasses, "it was wrongly allocated. There is a new claim on it. A businessman says this land was promised to him years ago. His name is," he checked the paper, "Chief Okodigbo." Ebra gasped. "That's the same man who tried to bribe us to keep quiet." Onyeka stepped forward calmly. "Barrister, we have papers signed by the governor. You can check them." "I'm just doing my job," he replied. "But until this is sorted, you must stop building." The workers dropped their tools. Children watched from a distance. Silence fell. Then Onyeka spoke. "No," she said clearly. "We will not stop." Barrister Okoro blinked. "Excuse me. We will not stop. If Chief 𝐾𝐨𝐲𝐵 wants to fight children for a piece of land, let the whole world see him. Let him come. Let him explain why a safe home for orphans threatens him." "You're making this difficult," the man said. "No," Onyeka replied. "You are." She turned to Chike and nodded. "Keep building." And he did. That night, Onyeka went to the governor's office with copies of all the documents. She explained everything about 𝐾𝐨𝐲𝐵, the threat, and the attempt to stop their work. The governor sighed. "These people, their hearts are still hard. But our spirits are stronger," Onyeka said. The next day, a new official order arrived. "The land belongs to 𝐦𝐿𝐫𝐵𝐻. Let no one interfere." Barrister Okoro disappeared. And Chief 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐵? He stopped trying. For now. At the end of the month, the first part of the new center opened. Beds were laid out neatly with pink and blue sheets. New uniforms were handed out. Food was served in clean plates under a mango tree planted beside the new shrine. The children ran in and out of the rooms laughing, singing. One group danced while another painted. It was no longer just a dream. It was real. And it belonged to all of them. That evening, a celebration was held. The villagers gathered. Children performed a play called The Girl Who Whispered at Midnight. In the final scene, the girl stood beside a large tree and said, "They took my voice. But now, I am heard." The crowd stood up and clapped for minutes. Tears ran down Mama Nelo's face as she watched. "My daughter, you did not die in silence." Papa Nedi stepped forward and handed Onyeka a carved stool. "It is time," he said. "Let the people know you are not just a helper, you are a leader." "But I'm only a girl," Onyeka said, surprised. "Exactly," he smiled. "And look what you've done." That night, after the guests had gone, Onyeka stood alone in the new classroom. She looked around at the books, the chalkboard, the small library corner. She whispered, "We did it, Neloaku." Outside, the mango tree moved gently in the breeze. And then, from the window, a faint voice reached her ears. "I am not alone anymore." She smiled, closed her eyes, and whispered back, "Neither am I." The new 𝐦𝐿𝐫𝐻 had become a beacon of hope. Children from faraway towns now arrived every week, brought by kind strangers, village chiefs, and sometimes even the police. They came tired, hungry, afraid, but they left with full bellies, warm smiles, and new dreams. Onyeka was busier than ever. Her days were filled with meetings, planning lessons, organizing meals, and comforting new arrivals. Yet every evening, no matter how tired she was, she sat quietly under the mango tree beside the shrine. It had become her place of listening. One night, as she sat there watching the moon, she felt a strange sensation. A pulling. A calling. Like the wind was tugging at her gently. She closed her eyes. And then, she heard it. Not a whisper this time. A chant. Faint, but steady. 𝐽𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐻. 𝐽𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐻, it was an old Igbo phrase. A saying about those who offend the land and try to walk behind it to escape justice. Onyeka opened her eyes quickly. The air around the mango tree had grown colder. The leaves were not moving, but something below the ground was. She stood up and placed her palm on the soil near the roots. The ground throbbed. Like a heartbeat. Something was buried there. She ran to the dormitory and called Chike. "We need to dig," she said. "At night?" he asked, worried. "Yes. I felt something. The land is speaking again." Ebra joined them, carrying a lantern. They returned to the tree and began digging near the base of the trunk. The soil was hard at first, but soon turned soft. Wet. Like clay. After a few minutes, 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭's shovel hit something solid. Thud. They cleared the dirt gently. And there, beneath a tree, they found a rusted iron box. Covered in old carvings. Sealed shut. Onyeka stared at it, her voice low. This box, it was placed here long ago. They lifted it out of the earth and carried it inside the main hall. The children were asleep. The night was silent. Onyeka slowly pried it open. Inside were 3 things. 1. A dusty bottle filled with thick red liquid. 2. A piece of cloth with strange symbols. 3. A small notebook, its pages old but still readable. She opened the notebook. It was a diary. Written in shaky handwriting. The first page read, "My name is Dibia Oka. I was once the priest of Nkpor. I regret what I did." Onyeka's heart raced. The diary revealed that before Papa Emma and Odiu, there was another man. A priest who believed he could control wealth through the land spirit. He had buried the box to bind his pact with the earth, to call on something dark. "I gave the land blood. I gave it voices. I silenced children to make the rich more powerful. But then, one day, the priest wrote, I saw a girl with a banana tree. She looked into my soul and I wept. I knew I had started something I could not stop. I buried this box under the mango tree. One day, someone with a clean heart will find it. Maybe they can break the chain." Tears filled Onyeka's eyes. "It started long before us," she whispered. "The land, the spirits, they were all crying because of him." Ebra leaned forward. "What do we do now?" "We show the world," Onyeka said. "The truth must not remain buried."
If you enjoyed the tale, if so, please like the video, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Also turn on your notification to get more enchanted tales like this one. Goodbye.